Well, hello there, dear folks and fellow YouTubers. It's your best buddy here, Nuclear Scality 7, and in today's video, I'm obviously not doing a gaming walkthrough video, but I am doing a video about a very unique and special survival horror game that is very close to my heart. And that survival horror game, of course, is Resident Evil, the very original game released all the way back in March 22nd, 1996, 25 years ago. And it's hard to believe that it's been 25 years since that game hit shelves. But anyhow, I just wanted to make a video about my thoughts regarding this awesome and iconic survival horror game to help celebrate its 25th anniversary 25 years later. And now I'm not going to show any gameplay footage of me or other people playing it, nor play any music from the game, because, of course, as you all know, at the time I'm making this video, I'm a pretty small YouTube channel at the current moment, and I can't afford to get my channel slapped with a copyright strike. Something I am going to go ahead and do, though, is look up screenshots for the game on Google Images. Of course, it takes a little moment for it to... and, of course, my annoying tendency to mistype. And I remember this very original concept art here. The frightened kind of military SWAT team guy, scared out of his wits as he, with a goofy facial expression, holds up his gun, of course. That's one of the things I find most memorable about Resident Evil is these military SWAT team people going into this old, creepy, more or less Victorian mansion. And now here's a... more or less cinematic sequence from the game. No, definitely a cinematic sequence. "You were almost a Jill sandwich," Barry Burton says in his cheesy, gruff voice, with the cheesy voice acting, which I think ironically kind of helps make the game very iconic as well. And I'll remember this front and back cover art of the original game from 25 years ago, of course, and hopefully the image clears up a little bit. If not, I can go to the main website. And yes, this is very, very nostalgic for me because I was a child, of course, growing up in the 90s. And here's the back cover art. Hopefully we can see it a little better. I'll find that thing. I'll go back. But yeah, that's very iconic. I remember being at my Aunt Ann and Kate's house back up in Oregon City when me and my family were still living in Salem. I remember this cover art with back and front. And yes, that's very memorable. Yeah, and I just remember, yeah, I loved that. That's just so awesome. You're dead scared. Face your fear. And, of course, I'm looking up pictures not of the remake released 6 years later in 2002, but of the very original PlayStation 1 original. But anyhow, this is something I thought I would do also, just to take a further trip down memory lane. I'm going to look up concept art, because I remember looking that up way back when, via magazines, or maybe old computers back then. Here's a picture, of course, of Jill Valentine and Chris Redfield together. This is very memorable concept art with the poofy, spiky 90s military haircuts. This is also fun and memorable. Man, I love that haircut. That's very awesome. In fact, next time I get a haircut, I might get one like what Chris has in this, of course, with my mustache goatee. But one of the reasons why I love Resident Evil so much is because I got introduced to the game back in March of 1996 when my Aunt Ann and her friend Kate introduced us to it at their home, and I have fond memories of playing it back in the grungier, dingier parts of their home. There's specifically the basement and an area, and also the mudroom when they had the PlayStation 1 in their mudroom for a while. That was very fond memories, and I remember both watching my older brother Kev look at them playing it when I wasn't technically supposed to, and then, of course, when I was playing the game myself, and I have fond memories of this game, and I've had a desire to make a survival horror game as this video game designer. As a video game designer, I should say, ever since I got introduced to this game way back when, 25 years ago. But I'm not going to say or share my ideas for that game, only because I don't want to risk my own ideas for a survival horror game getting stolen, of course. And let's also look at some of the cover art of the zombie. This is when the game was just a meager 20 years old by comparison. But yeah, oh, that iconic shot there of being introduced to the first zombie in the game with that iconic hole in his forehead exposing a bit of his brain and of course a bit of his gums exposed as well. Okay, and I'm going to look at this is also, that's right, there's some characters that were in the concept art for the game but never made it to the final product, which is kind of a shame now that I stop and think about it. But yeah. Oh yeah. And, oh, that's right, Resident Evil was originally intended by Capcom to be a first-person shooter game, which is awesome as well. And, here's another one, and this is when the game was just a meager, by comparison, 15 years old. And, yeah. Doom modders reimagined Resident Evil 2 inside the classic FPS. That's interesting. That's a creepy looking skeleton. Obviously, model of the Revenant. There's a cover art of Jill Valentine there in her original S.T.A.R.S uniform. You're almost a Jill sandwich, as Barry Byrne himself said. Okay. Look up back and front cover. Okay. Now, alright, just it'll take a moment for it to load, of course. I'm going to go ahead and download it. I think it'll be safe. Open when done, of course. Oh, yes, I have very fond memories of that cover art, both the front and the back. You're dead scared. Face your fear. A series of gory attacks in the area surrounding a remote biotech lab brings in S.T.A.R.S, Special Tactics and Rescue Squad, to investigate. On arrival, Bravo Team communications are abruptly cut off. Now it's up to your team. You arrive at the isolated mansion, underpowered and on the run. Arm yourself with anything you can find. Knives, pistols, shotguns, flamethrowers. Search for hidden rounds to stay alive. There are puzzles to solve, traps to disarm, and mysteries to uncover while trying to avoid a bloodbath with the freaks of nature that populate the mansion. Each lurking horror you survive will bring you closer to the source of the Resident Evil. Unprecedented detail-intense texture maps, shadows and lighting effects. Unique camera angles, action perspectives, and realistic polygon character graphics. Face unstoppable zombies, monstrous spiders, mutated snakes, and other unknown horrors. Explore hundreds of rooms in the gigantic mansion, secret underground layers, the garden, graveyard, and guest houses to solve mind-bending mysteries and discover fascinating secrets. Ominous digital surround soundtrack adds to the rich and evil 3D environment. Choose which soldier to play. Each creates their own graphic storyline. I remember you're putting on the voice of the guy who made the announcement, of course. And I remember this very iconic screen of the press any button start menu. That's very awesome, very iconic, and that frightened eye of Chris Redfield's there. Very cheesy, but very fun. But that's a part of the nostalgic value, of course. Here's another one. Resident Evil 1 logos. And I'm going to look up a picture and try to find a picture someone did of Barry Burton and Jill Valentine together. I got an idea. Yeah, this is an iconic and memorable game. There's no other two ways of putting it. And again, as I said before, it's inspired many different ideas for survival horror games that I know I want to do when I am a video game designer. I'm going to go ahead and say I am a video game designer, to say it in the present tense. And, there's a concept art of a very iconic cutscene from the game where Barry Burton is investigating someone's blood spilled on the floor, of course, and there's Jill Valentine in her iconic, original, classic S.T.A.R.S uniform with the beret hat. And Barry Burton with his gruff old beard and sizable muscles. "Blood. I hope this isn't Chris's blood," he says then, of course. And, but yeah, I just thought this would be a fun little video to make to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the game's release back in March 22nd, 1996. And oh my gosh, this is a YouTube video of a custom-made Barry Burton action figure. My gosh, that is way cool looking. That's way more interesting than some of the action figures we have out there today. Here's another pretty cool looking one. Another one. Official Hot Toys Resident Evil figures. Yeah. Again, I'm not showing any gameplay footage or playing any music because, again, I'm a small channel. And as such, I can't afford to have a copyright strike on my channel. But I am willing to go through some stuff here on Google Images, which I don't think will slap my channel with a copyright strike. But hey, if it does, it does. And yes, there's Barry Burton with his iconic facial hair. This time more of a mustache and goatee, a bit like what I'm wearing right now. But yeah. Awesome. And, well, I think that will be the end of the video here, folks. And remember, if you like this video, please hit the like button below. And if you want to see more of my videos, please hit that subscribe button below. But I just wanted to make a quick video out of this so that it wouldn't be a source of regret for me later on that I didn't decide to figure out a way, on YouTube at least, to celebrate the 25th anniversary of this game's awesome release. Goodbye for now, and you all have an excellent, wonderful rest of your day. Goodbye for now. Amen.